Random Geezer Thoughts, April 8, 2025. If this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, thanks for coming by. And if you're a returning visitor, Gig Geezer, thanks for coming by. If you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely love the comments in the section below. Well, I have somewhat of a busy day today. I've already completed one part of the day in which I had a load board based opportunity that took me to the Charleston area. It's kind of a common deal for me. There's a couple of load board based opportunities that I'm taking to one side of the state or the other, and every now and then I get them. And so as you see, how you see things, you see me on the inset, and then you see the road. I'm actually hightailing it back to Columbia because I've got two catering opportunities back to back. And once I finish with the catering opportunities, I got a cash game opportunity. But what I wanted to talk about as I'm driving along I-26 back to Columbia is a couple of things that I believe that would help you build a six-figure business. In this segment of the Gig Geezer, I pointed out some things that I believe would help a person build a six-figure business in delivery and transport. And so I want to kind of elaborate on a couple more points. And as you can tell in this setting, I'm in the box truck. I'll be doing more settings from the box truck as well. Now that I've kind of I wouldn't say let the cat out the bag though, but I've now shared that I've also added box truck to my equipment. Now, I'm really not creating an argument or trying to discredit what someone else says. I have always been of the opinion that, hey, contracts are fine. Contracts are fine. I mean, they help create stability for someone. But I've always been one in which, when it comes to contracts, I've not had the right situation or a right situation that I would fully pursue with the same energy that I have pursued other things. In my early days of delivery and transport with the sprinter/cargo van, so that's going back in 2023. I did have a couple of contract offers, and when I did the numbers, I believed that I was paying them to transport their stuff, and so I never pursued it. Now I know of one content creator who has built up his delivery and transport operations and the basis of his channel because of his contract opportunities. He's built his business operation where he has two sprinter/cargo vans, and then he started with Transit Connect. I don't believe the last time I checked out his channel, he's gotten rid of the Transit Connect. So he's got three vans. And he's built it mostly off of contract opportunities. Now, the thing is that I'm of the opinion now, after now being in this type of space for more than 2 years, that it can be added as you build a body of work, as you show a body of work. And I think that if I were to pursue a contract opportunity, I've got an argument that I can make for myself. I've got some things that I can sell myself on, sell my business operations on. But I think of people who try to get into the delivery and transport space, especially when it comes to ownership and operation of a sprinter/cargo van. They talk about contracts. Yeah, I want to get the contracts, get contracts. Well, here's one thing about contracts that people don't talk about. When you're pursuing a contract, they may have deadlines for submitting bids, or even I guess these are the formal type contracts where you go to places and they put out bids for them. They may have deadlines, but there's no set schedule as to when they will be awarded and when they will go into effect. And then again, with contracts, depending on the type of contract that you may have, as what we're finding out, if they are involved with the federal government right now, you may be out of an opportunity, and that's those are facts. Those are facts now. But the best kind of contract, I suppose, is one that you forge for yourself, where you create direct opportunities and you agree to certain terms. And I'm not qualified to talk about that because I'm just not pursuing contracts. If you want to talk in terms of a missing piece in my puzzle, it could be that. It could be the lack of a contract situation. But then I would have to scale my operations to where I could take on a contract based on the things that I do at this juncture. But I'll just leave it at that for now. Another random geezer thought. A lot of folk I've seen lately are talking about how if you think that you can make it in the delivery transport space on just gig apps, exclusively, I should say, if you think that you can make your money exclusively on gig apps, and I mentioned plural, not just a single app, but just plural, you are deceiving, you are in for a big disappointment. I would agree with that. I've always said when it comes to working apps that you need to have as many options as possible. But you have people out there who have all these fucking apps at their disposal and they're still struggling. And there's much truth to that. A lot of it has to do with your market, where you're at. And it could be in some other people's markets, you don't need as many apps. There are some folk who've done quite well working 3 primary apps in their market situation. But that can all change too. But I will just share this. As I mentioned before, what led me to pursuing the Sprinter/Cargo van ownership and operation, and what led me to evolve into the delivery and transport space, as I call it. I saw back in 2022 how my depending on gig food delivery opportunities were stagnating. And to that point, through 2022, or through December 2022, and you might as well make the argument well into the first quarter of 2023, 90% of the money that I earned was on gig food delivery apps of whatever kind, be it your staple apps like the DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, and Instacart, and with the addition of a couple of catering-based apps. But that was 90% of my money, and with the potential of being deactivated at any given moment, I always believe that you're one delivery away from being deactivated, especially gig food delivery apps. That created reason for me to give myself additional options. And when I meant by stagnating, while I was making money, and what I mean by that is, when I look back in the Geezer archive, 2020, I earned $76,000. 2021, I earned $82,000. 2022, I earned $81,000. So looking back, I didn't see where there was any trend of earnings going up. I saw them stagnating, plateauing, and then kind of starting to go down. So I think I made the right move. Now, 2023, first year with the Sprinter/Cargo van, or at least primarily with the Sprinter, working primarily through the Sprinter/Cargo van, a good year. A lot of that had to do with when I look back, that was the first year that certain last mile gig delivery apps were introduced into my market, and so the pay was pretty good. Then there was also first year doing working brokered opportunities, low board based opportunities, um, expedited opportunities. I did a lot of them, but I didn't make a lot of them. I didn't make money per se. And I've shared in past Gig User segments how it took me a good 7, 8 months before I started asking for the type of money that I have commanded and earned on many low board based opportunities, many brokered opportunities, even into 2025. Last year, there was a slight drop, and some of that can be attributed to gig apps, which was a good portion of the money that I earned in 2023. The offer amount, the quality and volume of opportunities dropped significantly. And some of it could have been to market saturation, and the other part could be to the gig apps themselves dropping rates, dropping offer amounts to try to remain, quote, competitive, or trying to retain more of their share of profit. And then with the brokered opportunities, well, it was what it was. So there was a slight drop off, and I went through 3 months, 3 really bad months, at least based on my body of work over the last couple of years. I went through 3 bad months where, based on the benchmark dollar amount that I'd earned each month, I was off by as much as 30% for a stretch of three straight months. I was pleased with the fact that my earnings had dropped by roughly 5% last year, although I still made 6 figures. So again, I would not try. If you think that you're gonna do 6 figures working gig apps, you're in for a rude awakening. It ain't gonna happen. You've got to diversify. I spent all that time just to say you've got to diversify. You've got to have other aspects of your business enterprise in order to make the type of money that you aspire to make. So what I want to do is give you a tour inside of the box truck. As you see, there's a pallet jack that I got, and I've got a couple of stoppers, one that I keep to my right. But the main thing I want to point out are the E-tracks and the ratchet straps. The ratchet straps were what I bought when I was doing just a Sprinter / cargo van. Now, in my ownership of the box truck, I've only had to use the ratchet straps and the E-track system a couple of times. But here's how I was able to, and also I got some steel shots that I'm going to show you here. None of these really were in place. Yes, these boards here, this was in place. Actually, this is what I put in. Actually, there was not much in place. I put in boards. In fact, what I did was I actually used some wood from the old E-track system and cut it in place. This board here, which was plywood, I cut it to where I can put E-tracks along here. And then I also, well, these top ones were in when I bought it. This was in place when I bought it. This was in place when I bought it. But some of these boards that I see here along the sides were boards that I fashioned together, like this here, in order to put in the E-tracks. I know that I'm kind of rambling for a couple of minutes and I'm kind of going from one side to the other. But I put them in place so that I could secure freight as need be. And as you can tell, I got different strengths of ratchet straps. The yellow ones are the strongest, and then the blue one are the next strongest, and then the black and orange are the weakest. The other thing that I had to do when I first bought this one, and this is actually one of the reasons why I considered buying it, is because there was not as much work that needed to be done to the box section. What I did, the most I put out really on the inside with the box section was for these silver pieces of E-tracks. I had to buy them in 3 foot, 5 foot, and 1 foot sections. These long ones are the 5 foot sections. And then there are some 1 foot sections that I had to buy because the store was out of them. These black ones was actually from the Sprinter / cargo van. When I did a video 2 years ago, those are the original E-tracks that I put in. But moving ahead with the flooring, this flooring here, it's been well used already, but this piece of flooring was kind of flaked out, and so when I went at the recommendation of a fast friend of mine, he told me a place that I can go to get an estimate. And the guy told me, well, that's something that you can do. All you have to do is get you some plywood, 1 sheet of plywood or a couple of sheets of plywood, and do it yourself. And that's exactly what I did. And then you see here, these are some wood screws that I had to drill in. And as you see on the inset, that's how I looked once I completed that project. Took me a day. Took me a day and a half because I had to do a bunch of other things though. So then you're wondering, why am I showing you the inside of the box truck, the box portion? Because that's the important part, other than the engine. Reason being is that I'm at a cash game opportunity where I'll be hauling away some stuff. It's just one of many cash game opportunities that I've kind of put together since November, and so it's just that's what I mean by working on the cash game that much more. I've got to build up the cash game to where people are calling me on a much more consistent basis. It's not there yet, and so that's why I'm showing. Okay, that's those mattresses off in the back. Those mattresses, stove, and sofa, and that are all that I have to pick up. In fact, we'll go over this shit. Stove looks like that's a bed. A table, sofa. Those bags are going in the trash. Headboard, and then headboard and mattress and another mattress. That's the king size mattress. Them motherfuckers are heavy though. But anyway, all that shit is going to go off into the box truck. All right, so we got the mattresses in, and we use the dolly. And of course I would fuck up something here. See that? That little hole there, that little rip. I'm gonna have to tape that up and do it very fast. It's a clear day today, so I don't have to worry about that. But hopefully I won't fuck up things permanently. But I definitely got to do something about that. I got some clear tape and some Gorilla tape that should seal that off for the time being. So the next thing, it's a big ass sofa. So what I did was, I turned it up on the side where it was standing straight up and used a dolly to kind of tug it back on into here in the box truck. That bed, that mechanical bed, I just kind of flipped it and flipped it and flipped it until I got it to about right here, and then pushed it on, and then just pulled it from this vantage point until I got it right about here, and then just pushed it. So now it gives me room for the table and those headboards. It also leaves me room for the dryer.
All right, so we're done. So the headboard stuff, easy shit to put in. That table, all I did was just, since it's a rounded rectangle, I just rolled it up the ramp up into here, and then kind of rolled it into position there. And then with the dryer, or with the washing machine, now when I first tugged on it, it reminded me of washing machines from, oh, let's see, back when I did a project. My ex at the time, this was 1997, September 1997. I had to move everything from the place that she was staying into the house that we bought. And the reason being, my ex was, what, 5, almost going on 6 months pregnant with her daughter. So it was on me. And so I moved pretty much everything, and I was using a Ford Ranger. So I had to make about 3 or 4 trips, but I moved everything in the Ford Ranger without a dolly. It was just me, sheer brute strength. Of course, I was, 34 years old at the time. And there was a lot of things I could do back then. And I didn't have titanium and cobalt in my left hip. But anyway, the washing machine, I should say. Washing machines back in the 20th century had cement blocks for stabilizers. The cement blocks were up under, and so when it goes into the spin cycle, the cement blocks kept it in place. Well, sometime in the 21st century, they figured out a different way of putting in stabilizers without using cement blocks. However, when I pulled on it, it was heavy. The spin drum was heavy, but it was heavier because there was water in there. And so therefore, that's where that big puddle right there. And actually there's still some spillage up under the truck, but that'll be gone. That'll be gone within the next hour. So just wanted to show you what the strategy was. So I had to empty out the water. There was a hose entry there that I took out the hose, and then up under the washing machine was another hose entry, so I made sure that all the water was drained out. So that's it. It took me about 40 minutes to do all this, and we're going to join the conversation in the truck. We'll finish up the conversation in the truck. Alrighty, we're done here. So what I got to do is get rid of all that shit that's in the box now. When I do things like this, I try to be hydrated. I've got some Gatorade, got water, I got lemonade, and maybe once it's done, I'll go Cosmopolitan and have some Fresca. But the hardest thing loading on was that king mattress, because all that shit sat out last night. I mean, I was informed of this last night. I accepted doing it last night. I was informed, and I think there was some rain yesterday evening, and of course it seems like I always get these day after fucking rain and this mattress is involved. But that mattress, I mean, a king size mattress dry is heavy, and then when it's wet it's even heavier. But you know, it is what it is. But what I wanted to do was show y'all a day in the box truck along with some random thoughts. I start off the day early during the night doing a low board based opportunity, and then I came back to Columbia and completed 2 catering opportunities. One was real large where I actually had to work with someone else, and then the other was a small one. And then what I decided to do was show at least some of what I do, because there are some haters out there that do not think that I do anything and that I have boring content because I don't show huffing and puffing and moving items and shit. But I can assure you that I did all that by myself with my old ass. I don't have helpers when I do this stuff. So you know, maybe at some point I'll be in a position where I can entrust somebody to do work that I assign to them. But until then, it's just me. But
I will say for the most part, it's been a very busy and productive day. I earned a good chunk of change. I'm not going to talk about what all I earned, but it was a good chunk of change. And hopefully you may be motivated to expand your horizons, create different options for yourself, so that you're in a better position, a better earning position. And again, that's all going to be based on you and what you feel that you can offer, what you can do. So that's all I have to share with this segment of the Gig Geezer. If you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane. As always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.